Welcome back to One Way or a Mother. I'm Dr. Elliot Berlin. In our last episode, Arianna faced her fears and set her goals, both spiritually and practically, preparing her mind, body, and new home for the baby's arrival. Then, just a week before her due date, Arianna's water breaks while she's putting her son Wilder to bed. Now, we rejoin her story as she and Zach get ready to head out to the hospital for delivery.
Who was on your team that you were planning to bring with you to the hospital?
I have my doula, Bailey, and Zach, my husband.
And you and Dr. Crane?
And Dr. Crane. And
eventually?
That's it.
Okay.
That's my team.
So were there more people laboring with you at home?
Yes.
Okay, who's at home?
My girlfriend, Leigh, who's like one of my best friends, and she's been living with us on and off to help us move, which has been amazing. And she's been helping me because I'm super pregnant and can't lift stuff and can't remember anything and have a toddler. And so then she was also going to stay a little while after and sort of act as a postpartum doula situation. Yeah.
Okay.
And then my mom.
All right. Mom's
back.
Mom's back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there was nobody to really notify, right? Bailey was already with you.
She was actually at dinner with a man, with a sweetheart.
Oh.
Yeah. So she had a whole love affair during this whole process. She came out to LA. I flew her out. She had a man come in and they had a love affair. So the side story, this baby is very romantic.
I love that.
You know, we're just bringing love into the world, peace and love. Very cute. So she's at dinner. I call her. I was like, so you know, this is happening. She's like, cool, I'm at dinner. Let me know. I'm very close. I was like, okay, cool. Zach's like, should we call Dr. Crane? Should we call Dr. Crane? Should we call Dr. Crane? I'm like, no, you don't need to tell him my water broke. Like, I'm not having like crazy contractions yet. I think let's just wait a little while. I really just want to rest. I want to chill out. Let me chill out. I had some bone broth. My contractions or surges were getting stronger. And I was like, okay. So I was like, maybe we should start timing them just to see. They were like 4 to 7 minutes apart.
It's pretty regular right off the bat.
Regular right off the bat. So they were coming in hot.
Where'd you feel them?
In my pelvis this time. So in the front. So that was different.
That's a refreshing difference.
It was a very refreshing difference. I was like, okay, this is happening. And as soon as my water broke too, I felt the baby moving like a lot, like trying to wiggle. I was like, oh, he's wiggling. He wants to come on down.
So you're timing your contractions like with an app?
Yeah. Zach downloaded an app. He got it going. And I was like, you know what? We should probably pack my hospital bag.
Oh, you haven't packed your bag yet?
No. Again and again with the hospital bag. I didn't do it. And it's just everything's disorganized. And I was like, oh my gosh. But luckily I had a list this time. I passed the list off because Zach needed something to do. And Leigh needed something else to do. And my mom needed something to do when she got here because Wilder was already asleep. And the cats didn't need food. So, you know.
So Zach will pack.
So they were all running around packing. I also told Leigh and my mom to alert. I had a candle chain. So I made these birth candles. I made birth art. I made little votive holders. I hand painted them and gave them out to some girlfriends. So I made a text chain like, oh, you text so-and-so will text so-and-so will text so-and-so will text so-and-so to light your candles all at the same time to give me like strength and sort of like to keep me in mind or like a prayer circle or I don't know.
Beautiful. Light.
Yeah. Light. So I was like, all right, let's get that going because I feel like this is going to happen soon. And 2 days before that, I had a session with Bailey and she, you know, did some hypnotherapy on me and some fear release. And one of the things that she asked me to do in them was decide how long I wanted my labor to be. And my answer 2 times in a row was 6 hours. So I had decided that 6 hours, I was like, I think that candle that I gave everyone would maybe take at most 6 hours to burn. So I'm choosing 6 hours.
Okay, there's a logic.
Yeah, there's a logic. So I had chosen 6 hours. So
I mean, I just thinking it through, I would have just gotten a 3-hour candle.
Oh, right. No, I chose the cute candles and had to guess how long they burned. So I don't.
Okay, as long as it wasn't that 7-day candle.
No, they're very, very small candles.
We'll be right back. Arianna has her birth candles lit. Her surges are ramping up, and she's getting in the zone for her second birth.
All right, so the light happens.
The light happens. We light the candles. I'm like, okay, this is sort of like ramping up. I got into the bathtub. I labored in there for a little while. I got out, and then I was like, okay, I'm not feeling like I need any assistance yet. So I kind of let everybody do their thing. We put on my playlist that my friend Hunter made for me. He made my previous birth playlist for Wilder. So he made me another one for this baby.
Can we get a sneak peek on what was on there?
What's on there? Like some Leon Bridges, some Big Wilds, which is a cool electronic band thing. Some good, chill, loving, sweet, but motivational music.
Okay. The words.
The words are motivational, and then there's also like some steady beats in there.
Beats, yeah.
Beats,
okay.
Yeah, to keep me, on track. Yeah. Some nice bass. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Leon Bridges came on in my bedroom, and I smiled. I was like, this is really sweet. I love this. I'm very happy.
Wait, did you not even know what was on there until you started playing it?
No. Yeah.
Oh,
he sent it to me as I went into labor. So he's like, okay, here's the playlist.
Wow. He was like one step behind the hospital bed.
Yep. I know. No, he had made it. So he was waiting to give it to me when I went into labor. Yeah.
Do you have a time reference of because your water broke, you said around 7:45. What time is it now that the Leon Bridges is kicking in?
Maybe an hour or less later.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's moving.
It's moving. So I knew to call my mom. I called my mom. She started talking to me about other stuff. And I was like, hey, yeah, so my water broke. I interrupted her after a couple minutes of her talking. And I was like, my water broke. She's like, oh, okay. Well, when should I come? Should I sleep? When I, started going off. And I was like, I feel like I'm about to trip balls. So you should probably come now. Like, I feel like I'm about to do some hallucinogens. Like, I feel like I'm coming up on ashrooms.
Oh, right. Ashrooms. We talked about those.
Acid mushrooms. So she came, and I became pretty internal after that.
I went over there, and she was already in the throes of it, but she was doing hypnobirthing this time. And so she was in a much more, she was in a relaxed state the first time, but she was in so much pain the first time. She was almost having out of body. I could tell it was almost like an out of body thing. This time she felt like she was much more in her body and was connected to it in a different way.
So the first birth, it was like a gradual, woke up in the morning, I'm going into labor, and then like 5 or 6 hours before hardcore labor. This time she was like, I'm going into labor. It was nighttime. And then about 30 minutes or an hour later was like physically unable to walk or do anything but like bend over and make noises.
It was pretty intense to begin with. And then I didn't need help until right before Bailey arrived. So I tried to get Zach to do counter pressure on me, which he didn't remember how to do. And I didn't remind him how to do it. And as soon as he started trying to do it, Bailey walked in. And so she took over. I was very grateful to have that.
So counter pressure against your lower back?
Yeah. Hip squeezes, sacral counter pressure. Yeah. Lower back.
Okay.
Counter pressure.
Did you have a plan in mind, even a loose plan of like, okay, when this happens, I'll either call Dr. Crane or go head out to the hospital?
As I went internal, I think Zach called Dr. Crane because I was like, you can call him because this is intense.
Yeah.
You can call him. We can get everybody on deck because this is happening quickly.
Once you're at the ashrams.
Yeah, right? I was like, yeah, this is totally happening. I'm going into the zone. I'm spiraling. Let's go. You can call whoever you want. I don't care.
Called the doctor. Sounded like he was definitely asleep when we called him. He was very confused. Seemed like he was still like sort of dreaming. But then he told me to let him know when the contractions were like a few minutes apart. And pretty much instantly they were a few minutes apart. So it was like, I think me and Arianna are both in denial that they were that quick because we were hoping there'd be more time.
I think he was like saying, monitor them as soon as you're 4 minutes or 5 minutes apart, you should come in. And Zach was like, oh, we're already there.
Oh, we'll be there an hour ago.
And he was like, oh, okay, sure. So I guess I'm going to come in pretty soon then, because it'll probably be pretty soon. So we'll be there pretty soon. So they started ramping up the gathering of the hospital bag. So
I mean, is this in your mind? Are you, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. I thought
Take me.
about, I was like, yeah, let's do this. At one point I was laboring hard. I did think I needed to change my outfit because I was in a dress that I'd been wearing all day. And I really wanted to wear my Sublime t-shirt. That's a band. So I was like, get my Sublime t-shirt. I really want to wear that. I want to give birth to my Sublime t-shirt. And I put it on. So I had a diaper and a Sublime t-shirt on, and I was friggin' ready to go.
That's what all the kids are doing these days.
Right? I was like, this makes me feel good. I've got my music. We're doing it. So
Excited?
yeah, I was super excited. I was thinking about when I was in the bath, I thought about Wilder and our experience in his crib earlier, and it made me smile. I was like, all right, I had my birth color from my hypnobirthing. I was like, I have all the tools to do this. I can totally do this. So I'm laboring, I'm sweating. I don't know. We go to the hospital between 11 and midnight. Time escapes me. I have no idea what time anything happened after 7:45. So I had no clue what time it was, but I do know that we checked into the hospital between 11 and 12. So maybe like 11:30, I think.
I think it was really within an hour and a half of my being there. She says, I think we should probably get ready. Go to the hospital.
We're laboring at home. We got everything together. I'm like, we need to go to the hospital. I called it. I was like, we need to go to the hospital now. It's time to go to the hospital. Like I'm gonna have the baby.
The first birth that we tried to do at home turned into an emergency trip to the hospital with Arianna in the backseat saying that she didn't know if I guess in retrospect, she said that when she was in the car on the way to the hospital, she felt like she was going to die. So that's what was so scary about it, was I know she has a very high threshold for pain and doesn't articulate when the pain is too much. So worrying that she would try to go until failure. And then at that point, we'd be left with another very chaotic, scary trip to the hospital. So I said to Arianna's mom, Alex, I was like, I'm going to go upstairs and suggest that we go to the hospital. And then I went upstairs and I was like, how are you feeling? And she was like, I want to go to the hospital. So it made it a lot easier.
How was the car ride?
Horrible. Oh my gosh. No one should ever get in a car when they're in active labor. It's just like the worst thing ever. My favorite contraction, though, before I got into the car was on my lawn, on my front lawn.
What made it your favy?
Just that I got to connect with nature for a moment. It was fun. I fell to the lawn, and it was very nice, very comforting.
So far, everything's going according to plan. When we come back, Arianna arrives at the hospital. Stay with us.
You have your little nature contraction on the
Grass.
Yeah, loved it.
awful car ride.
Awful car ride.
You get to the hospital. Do they check you right away, or what happens?
Well, we had to be admitted, right? So I'm always so surprised how long it takes to get into the hospital. We finally got in the room and set up shop, the electric candles. We brought, my husband brought our Himalayan salt lamp, which I thought was really cute.
Oh, really? I've
Yeah.
not seen that. I've been to a lot of births. Never saw. I've seen them at home, not at the hospital.
I didn't know he had brought it, so I thought that the hospital room had it. And I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, no.
No, yeah, no. I was like, wow, that's so awesome. What a lovely touch. It was Zach. So it was really sweet. I learned that later. But yeah, had our music going. We got it all there.
But when you triage, did they put you on a monitor or check your cervix or anything like that?
No, we just waited for our room.
And they come on in.
Dr. Crane came in a little while later and he was like, how you doing? I was like, I'm good. And he's like, oh, wow, that's great. That's good. You're looking great. And then he checked me and I was at 8 centimeters and he's like, how are you talking to me? I was like,
wow.
I don't know.
Okay, hold on a second. First of all, you were aiming for a VBAC.
Yeah.
When you get in the hospital, do they talk about that? Do they do anything differently?
Yeah, they talked about it. They asked me, they were like, oh, you're trying to do vaginal. You had a previous C-section. I think a couple people asked, what was the first birth? A C-section. I declined to wear the gown, the hospital gown.
Because you had your sublime shirt?
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not putting that on. And they said, okay. I said, okay, great. They gave me a hep block, I think. I let them give me a hep block, but I declined everything else. So I said no to everything. And I think they understood what I was going for.
Leave her alone.
Yeah.
Did they have different rules on monitoring for VBAC?
No, they didn't have. I said, can we do intermittent monitoring? I had an amazing nurse. She was so kind and so just like down with everything I wanted and was really supportive and really positive.
Do you think we should explain that thumping noise is you burping your baby?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's me burping my baby.
No.
This is me burping my baby very quickly. Otherwise, he's going to have the hiccups, and that's going to be a whole nother sound issue.
Yeah. We have 2 belts on you. One is to monitor the baby's heart rate, and the other one for your contraction activity. And in a lot of places, they just leave it there the whole time, and you're sort of locked into that cord length for your movements. Some hospitals have sort of wireless monitoring, either the older type where you have a transmitter, so you can wear the transmitter and it wirelessly sends the data to the machine. And if you want to walk around, you can. The hospital has a little telemetry set up so that it reports the readings back to the nurse's station continuously. Or the newer ones, little Bluetooth ones. Did they give you that they put on your belly?
No.
No Bluetooth.
I don't think so, no.
Sometimes with trial of labor after cesarean, the DOLAC, hoping for the VBAC, the vaginal birth after cesarean, they like to do continuous monitoring. Just an extra step, but you don't have to.
I requested intermittent monitoring and she said, okay. So she just kind of held it there whenever she could get to my belly. And basically she was my nurse was my continuous monitoring. Yeah, it was really sweet. So that was awesome. So
Dr. Crane checks you and you're 8. Is that a surprise to you?
Yeah. I mean, it was a relief and I was like, it feels like I should be at 8. So it was also shocking because I was like, wow, I'm at 8. Cool. Does that mean the baby's going to be here soon?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, great. Because I was starting to push at that point. My body was starting to push.
Naturally. Wow.
Naturally starting to push, yeah.
Did he give you any other intel?
So he was like, okay, so you're naturally starting to push. It seems like your cervix is super stretchy right now. So you could essentially push into my fingers and I could try to move the cervix out of the way since it's so stretchy. And this baby could come like now.
Whoa.
And I was like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds great. Yes.
I mean, I'm so excited. You've built up a lot for that vaginal birth. Was that a big moment when he said that?
I was like, oh, really? I was still sort of in disbelief because I had felt these sensations before and I had felt the pushing before and I just hadn't been close. I mean, Wilder did sort of come out of my vagina, but not all the way. So he got stuck and then I had a C-section. So thinking of this, I did maybe encounter some fear at this point, and Bailey did notice it too. So this is where I think the fear came up for me. And I was like, okay, so the baby's going to come now, or is it going to come? I don't know. I just wasn't as confident in that moment as I had been before, because this is the space I hadn't entered before, I guess.
It's the moment of truth for Arianna. Preparation can't erase fear, but it can help when you face it when the time comes. With all the tools and techniques she's practiced, can Arianna achieve the experience she's hoping for? Find out when we return.
You did talk about, because you did that orgasmic birth
Yes.
training where
Yeah.
you find something positive and that feels good to you and just
Yeah.
really focus on that.
Yeah.
Did that come into play at all?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had to remember the affirmations that come with hypnobirthing, which was one of them was, each surge brings me closer to my baby. So I just kept thinking that, okay, each surge, like just get through this one and you'll get through the next one and then your baby will come. So that was really grounding and very helpful when it got more intense.
Would you say all the intensity was pain?
Not yet. So I did have what I would consider extreme pain during crowning. Yeah.
So I'm saying leading up to it, all those surges, are they more pressure? Pressure and pain together?
It's pressure. It's definitely painful, but not, I chose to feel pressure. I chose to feel heaviness. And so I chose to focus on that versus it being like, oh my gosh, this is so painful. So I didn't lean into the pain. I just thought, oh, wow, this is intense. Oh, wow, that's a lot of pressure. Oh, wow, that's more pressure than before. So sort of changing the vocabulary in my head and not focusing on it being painful, that was very helpful. And it kept me calm. So I didn't panic and go into a negative space.
Were any of the sensations positive? Any pleasurable sensations? Like even just from the sort of feel-good hormones flowing through your body?
Definitely got to I did some movements trying to move the baby down. So I would do hip spirals in between, and I would sort of get into it between surges. So I would be okay, now I can move my body a little bit. And I was okay, cool. And maybe I can move them down a little bit, sort of wiggling my body, feeling really good about that. Feeling really good about feeling myself sweating. I was this is awesome. I'm doing such good work. Wow, this is so fun. Just reminding myself that this is a fun experience. Just because it's intense doesn't mean it's not fun. And you're bringing life into the world, which is really fun. And I have my husband there, which is really fun. And I got Dr. Crane, who's really gung-ho about this. And that was fun. And this nurse is so great. And so that was fun. And oh, what? You had fun too, right? Did you have fun? You were there too. We were doing it together. Right, cutie? Okay.
Because Bailey was there, the doula, and when we got to the hospital, there wasn't chaos this time. It was a lot more, Arianna had been listening to hypnobirthing for the last 6 months. Or it's not 6 months, 3 months. So I don't know, maybe I got hypnobirthed. I don't know what happened, but it felt like it was very almost as if we were going through an exercise that we've been preparing for a long time.
Just to recap, your doctor checks you, you're 8 centimeters, which is both exciting, a little surprising, relieving, but you kind of felt like you were 8 centimeters. So, but a lot of people feel 8 centimeters and get checked and it's 2. So at least confirming. And then your cervix is so soft and stretchy that he says you can push through it, essentially.
Yes.
Okay, so do you start pushing? You were already pushing on your own.
I was already pushing on my own. So he basically coached me and was saying, we're going to push more. You're going to push into my fingers. So I could feel his fingers on my cervix. And he's like, when you feel the urge to bear down, you'll bear down into my fingers as hard as you can. And I was like, all right, I can do that.
Pretty much she started pushing as soon as Dr. Crane showed up. And then it was game on. Dr. Crane was very, very positive. So then I relaxed and did not feel nervous and was just excited to see what was going to happen, because I've never seen a birth before like that.
So I basically had two pushes with each surge in me. I had no more than that. He tried to get more out of me and there was no more. I couldn't, that was it. That was it. That was naturally inside of me. And I didn't want to press further to tire myself out or to damage myself. But that was what was in me. And that's what I could give with each surge. So, yeah, that was really hard. It was a really intense ab workout. I remember being like, man, my abs, holy moly. Like, this is a lot.
I feel like, you know how they turn everything into a workout, like the bar workout, kickboxing. You should do a birth workout.
Yeah, you should. I was like, wow, this is nuts. So it was like that. And I remember being really thirsty. I was just like, oh my gosh, I was so thirsty. I kept taking drinks of water. I've never been so thirsty in my life.
And the pushing was hard because why?
Because I was giving it 100%. So it was 100% of my energy that I had left on the day and just shoving that all toward my rectum.
If his fingers were there, could he give you feedback?
Yeah, he was saying, good job, keep going, exactly right. Yes, that's right. A little bit more, do it again. You know, he got really into it, which at some point I did laugh. I was like, oh, he's so into it. It's really like great. I love it. Like he loves this. And
especially since it's like his 10,000th birth.
I know. And I keep referring to him as like Gandalf. Like, this is just like so awesome. He just like knows so much. And it was just clear to me that he loves his job so much. And that also gave me, I don't know, a lot of pleasure in the experience. I was like, man, he's just so happy. This is great. And then Zach switched places with the nurse. Like, he was my number one cheerleader at the end. And that was really fun. Zach was like saying, push, you can do it. I was like, all right, cool. And at one point it reminded me of some sketch he made in high school that made me fall in love with him. He gives birth, his brother gives birth to him in an elevator and he's like, push, boy, push. And he was saying push and I almost laughed again. So it was very pleasurable, even though I was like in pain and intensity. Yeah. Eventually, Dr. Crane's like, the head, I can see the head. Do you want to feel the head? I said, yes. So I felt it and it was there. I felt his little hairy little head.
Good job. Nice and easy. Good.
No, just one or two more.
Okay, so stretching you up.
Touch baby's head.
Put your little hand. Yeah, there's your baby.
So close.
That's your baby, honey.
That was cool. And then he asked if I wanted a mirror because I kept saying, is the baby coming? Like, is the baby coming? Like, I don't know. Is that what's happening right now? Like, what the hell's happening? He's like, do you want a mirror? I said, yes, please. So we got the mirror in there and that was awesome. I really liked the mirror. The mirror was very helpful.
Helpful for pushing? Like, you can see the results of your labor?
Yes, I can see how far the baby is. I can see myself like stretching open. I can see the whole thing. So it was very motivating to know that I didn't have that much farther to go and that I could see the results of my labor, which was pretty awesome. And I needed it because I needed a pick me up. So it was a confidence booster somehow. So I was just bearing down. And when he crowned, I guess his crowning was extremely long because that ring of fire was not momentary at all for me.
Oh, how long was it?
Minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds fiery.
It was fiery.
Fuego.
Oh, and fuego. So intense.
Wow. Was there anything that you could do to alleviate it or just?
no. I mean, I was like, was it Dr. Crane that's stretching me? It's like, what the heck is happening? And then they're like, no, you guys just like, you're going, it's happening. You're doing it. And I was like, oh my God, it hurts so bad.
What kind of noise were you making at that
I
point?
was screaming at this point.
Here comes.
Relax, he's coming. Okay. Nice and fast. There we go. There we go. Nice and easy. We're almost there. Head is turning nice and gentle. Look at your baby. Look at your baby. There we go. His head is out.
Do one more little push now.
One more little push. Ready? Push down.
Okay, good. Now we gotta get the shoulders down.
Okay.
So I want you to take a big breath and let's push down.
Ready? Big breath. Curl your chin.
Chin to chest, chin to chest.
Push.
Okay, here it comes.
Baby's coming.
Okay, now relax.
I pushed more. And then finally he came out and I got to catch my baby.
Oh, sweet boy.
You want to grab him?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Blinky.
There we go.
That was tough. You did it though.
You are super dry. Oh my.
I was just so happy. I was like, cool. I just caught my baby. I thought I would cry or be very emotional.
I'm crying right freaking now.
I wasn't. I was just like, yeah, man. I was just stoked. I was like, this is great.
Ash rooms.
Great. Yeah, Ash rooms. I was like, this is amazing. Cool. Awesome. Hey, baby, what's up? Like, I already felt like I knew him. So it wasn't like I was meeting him. I was like, yo, this is so cool. We did this. And
How about the other people?
yeah, everyone was happy.
Mm.
It was great. I had him on me for a little while and I asked for delayed cord clamping. And then I asked, do you think we could wait until I birth the placenta to cut the cord? And Dr. Crane said, sure, we'll give it 30 minutes. And if your placenta doesn't come out naturally, we'll try some other stuff. And I said, okay. But man, those contractions after you give birth to birth the placenta are major too.
Were you latching already at that point?
Not yet. I was letting him take his time. He wasn't latching yet, but that was very painful. Those contractions were gnarly. Yeah.
Did you push with them? Or you just let them...
I was naturally pushing with them too, which was interesting. And it wasn't coming out. And finally, I think after 25 minutes, I birthed the placenta after he latched.
Maybe that's when the candles went out.
Yeah, maybe, right? The last candle went out at that point. And I birthed the placenta and I said, oh my God, that is the best feeling I've ever had in my life.
Everybody's got to try it at least once.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, nothing has ever felt better than that.
Unexpected pleasure is the sweetest surprise in childbirth. Arianna's VBAC journey brought immense joy when she birthed the placenta. Her dedication and preparation made all the difference, showing that even in the unpredictability of childbirth, the most unexpected moments can be profoundly rewarding. In the next episode of One Way or a Mother, we'll check in on Arianna's recovery, and Arianna shares which pieces of her toolkit she thinks were most helpful in achieving a vaginal birth after cesarean.
I was like, no matter what, this is going to be a healing birth because I will be prepared for whatever's happening. I will know I've done everything I possibly can to make it go well and feel good about surrendering to whatever this birth will be.
And we'll visit with Dr. Crane about Arianna's progress, what he thinks about home birth versus hospital birth, and why he feels vaginal birth after cesarean is safer than people may think.
I think that unless you go into it with a positive attitude, people end up intervening and going for the second cesarean without really giving it a proper try.
creator, producer, writer, and a host of One Way or a Mother is Dr. Elliot Berlin, D.C. Rose Hart-Landsberg and Natalie Pulvino are the writers and producers. Paul Greenberg is the consulting producer. Glenn Nishida was the sound engineer at Pacifica Studios. Nikola Teravovich was the audio engineer. Story editing and sound mixing by Mallory Edson. Theme music composed by Guillermo Silva. Juliette Lamar was a contributing editor. Special thanks to Arianna, Zach, and their family, and the providers for sharing their birth story. One Way or a Mother is an original production by Berlin LLC and the Informed Pregnancy Project. All rights reserved. Thanks for tuning in.